Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be doing another makeup and horror movie, adding this to my edition of makeup and horror movie videos that I've already done, as well as the continued playlist I'm going to be creating where I'm doing makeup and talking about horror movies, two of my favorite things in the world. So today I'm just going to be playing with some makeup, doing my looks, as we're in this quarantine state. I think it's fun to just kind of get away from some of these things, even though makeup and horror movies are not that important, especially in light of all of the tragedies that people are going through. I think it's fun to just kind of get away from it and just think about something else. So today I'm going to be doing a movie review of a very classic, beloved horror movie from the 70s, which is Black Christmas. So Black Christmas is a movie that kind of started off this slasher genre in a way. Sometimes people attribute it to helping start this slasher genre. Obviously, Psycho came before that and really kind of started that process, but a lot of people give Black Christmas as sort of jumping that off as well. So I will be talking about that movie today and my perspective. I've only seen it twice, and I actually started watching it from a recommendation of some of my favorite YouTube movie commentaries channels on YouTube, and they kind of focus a lot on horror movies, which is Dumb Drums here on YouTube, and also Cody Leach. So I heard some reviews from both of their channels about the movie, and I decided to check it out. So I'm going to tell you what my point of view is, and to make it a little fun, I'm also going to give this movie a rating, and to play off the makeup, I'm going to rate it using some of the products here. You'll see at the end. I'm not explaining it well. But anyway, let's get started. Here's my review of Black Christmas. Stick around if you want to hear. Alright, so I'm going to start off with some primer, which is the Pure. And also to relate to that primer, I'm going to start off with some of the basics. Right? Primer sort of is our step before the foundation. And let's learn some basics for this movie. The movie is called Black Christmas. It came out in 1974, I believe. And it stars some pretty big names such as John Saxon, Olivia Hussey, and Margot Kidder. Hopefully I said all those names right, because I'm saying that from memory, but these are pretty well-known names nowadays. And the movie is about basically these phone calls that these girls in a sorority are getting, and they're just really scary and mysterious, and they don't know what they're coming from, and then all of this bad stuff starts happening when one of the sisters goes missing. So I just rewatched it. I watched it one time a couple months ago, and then I just rewatched it a few days ago with my family and showed them because they've never seen it either. And so I just want to give my review of it today. Alright, so first I'm going to start off with the story, and I'm also going to start off with my eyeshadow primer and eyeshadow. Today I'm going to be using this palette from Ccolor Cosmetics Around the World, which is a dupe for an Urban Decay palette, Born to Run, I believe. So I'm going to be using this today. Alright, so starting off with the story and the plot of this movie. This movie came out in 1974, so the plot of this movie is kind of almost starting off this trope of the caller is in the house. The person that's calling and just making these obscene, terrible phone calls is in the house. So the story goes that we have this mysterious person, we don't know who it is, that goes into this sorority house, and he's in the attic, and we see this happen at the beginning of the movie. And these girls in the sorority keep getting these obscene, really terrible phone calls saying all of this really weird, creepy stuff. So how do I think of the story, the plot? And if you see me looking down, I'm looking at some notes here that I wrote down just to keep me on track, and so that I'm not just talking and blabbering off. But anyways, starting off with the story, I think the story is a really good kind of mysterious story where we don't really know who is this person that's making these calls, and who is this person that's in the attic. And throughout the movie, it almost makes you wonder, are those two things related? Because we don't really know. We don't ever see the guy in the attic making these calls. But the girls keep getting these obscene calls, and these calls are kind of actually really scary when you listen to them. Just the way, the sounds that this guy's making and the things he's saying. If you were to receive a call like that, that would be pretty jarring and upsetting and scary, really. Especially, you know, it's like you don't know who is doing that. So that's one thing I like about the story, is we kind of don't really know that much about the killer. What is he doing this for? And it's very much a mystery, and we get a couple red herrings within the movie. Well, not a couple, we get one red herring throughout the movie of one of the main characters, which is Jess, who Jess is the person we're kind of following throughout the movie, as well as some other girls in the sorority, but Jess is kind of our final girl within the story. Well, she is our final girl, and we're just wondering, is this Jess's boyfriend? So within the story, we also have a subplot that Jess, the main character, is pregnant, but she doesn't want to have the baby, and she tells her boyfriend this, and that really upsets him. So we kind of get that red herring throughout the movie. Is it Peter, which is the boyfriend, that's making these calls or doing these kind of threatening, terrible things? So we have interesting characters as well within the story. So with that subplot, we get to see a little bit more of the characters' motives, the characters' feelings, the characters' goals and stuff like that. So it really fleshes the characters out more, which I think is really nice, because sometimes within scary movies, we don't get to see these characters really fleshed out. They don't have much personalities within some slashers that we see. So it was nice to kind of see some things about the girls, and even the side characters as well. For example, some of the girls within the sorority, we kind of get to see their personality through their actions, through their words, and it just makes this seem more real, the characters that we're watching. So most of the characters are really interesting and good, actually. Even the house mother, who can be kind of annoying throughout the movie, we even kind of see some things about her as well, fleshing out her character as kind of being like this kind of fake person that behind the scenes is really more coarse than what she portrays to everyone else, even if she is very annoying. But yeah, so story-wise, and I think the story has a really good basis. It's typical trope nowadays, like the callers within the house type of thing, mystery killer. We've seen it before, but they were kind of the first ones to do it with Black Christmas, so that's what makes it more interesting. And so nowadays you see a lot of movies with the callers in the house type of, this type of trope. But anyways, it's really scary. The story is really good. The plot's really good. The subplot is interesting. So I say for the story-wise, awesome job. Alright, let's move on next to characters. Alright, so what I've done so far is I've taken this kind of brownish color just in the crease, and then I put this on the outer, and then I'm just going to go on with a neutral color on the lid, and then I'm going to smudge the waterline with some, don't I want to do that? Smudge the waterline maybe with some, instead of the green, I guess I'll do like this color here. Alright, so anyways, next part for this review is the characters. Excuse me. So the characters in this story, like I said before, they're more fleshed out. We get to see more of the motives of these characters and kind of what's driving our main focused characters. Now, not every character is going to be having, you know, complete fleshed out story and personality, because there's just not enough time to do that. But overall, most of the characters, we kind of see their personality, what their motives are, kind of, you know, how they are portraying what they want for the future. Especially with Jess and Peter, we really get to see their story with the subplot that Jess is pregnant, but she doesn't want the baby, and she wants to get an abortion. So I think that's really interesting to put into the story, and it also helps push that red herring idea that Peter might be the one doing these phone calls. So we do get to learn about the characters, and through their actions we kind of see their personality. Like, for example, we get to learn a little bit about Barb and like how disappointed she is that her family doesn't take that much interest in her. And they don't come out and explicitly say that, but we can tell that from her body language, from the phone call at the beginning of the movie, and from her, you know, repeated drunken tirades that she does throughout the movie. We can kind of see that something is hurting her, and it's interesting to kind of get into more of the psychology of the characters and look at them from that point of view, you know, as a way to kind of empathize with them a little bit more. So it actually makes you care, you know, when they get killed, that you knew something about them. Even if they weren't like the best people, you see that they have some sort of personality, they have some sort of wants and desires, and things hurt them as well. So it kind of makes you empathize with the character more when they get killed. again, Barb and Peter are kind of our main characters we're seeing. And also, I really like seeing John Saxon in this. I always think of him as Nancy's dad from Nightmare on Elm Street, but he also did a really great job in this movie. I think he portrayed the lieutenant character really nice. So that's nice to see him. So the characters for this movie, really awesome and good. Alright, let's move on to the next part, which is kills. We don't see that many kills in this movie, but the kills that we do see, I think, are really memorable, actually. Which means it shows you don't need to have a bunch of kills to have, you know, a good horror movie, a good slasher. So in this one, we do get some really memorable kills, actually. The kills that we do get actually are, sorry about that, that's my family. So the kills that we do get are actually really memorable and interesting and just good kills overall. So the main kills that stood out to me throughout this movie is obviously the first one where the girl gets suffocated. Again, it's not like super original, but thinking about when this movie came out and also how iconic it is that the killer, who we don't know the name of, but it's hinted at that his name might be Billy. So I'll just call him Billy. That Billy, the killer, you know, this mysterious person, he takes that first body up to the attic with the plastic that suffocated her still in, you know, over her head, and just sits her in the rocking chair. And that's where you get that iconic scene, that iconic picture of this movie is her sitting there with that bag over her head. And also the way the kill was done, where it's kind of like it was a pop-up, but it was well done. Honestly, it wasn't just like, oh, pop up with a scary sound every single time. It was a pop up with something that actually was scary. And the fact that he put her body up in the attic just adds to the creepiness of it and the creepiness of the killer as well. Another kill that stood out to me obviously was the hook kill when the house mother got killed with the hook. That one was pretty cool and kind of surprising in a way. Not for us, but surprising for her. And then another kill that really stood out was the one where he takes the crystal like horse or unicorn or whatever it was and kills Barb. And that one was probably the most gory, and as far as what we get in this movie, there's not really a whole bunch of like gore. And then the other kills are kind of off screen, nothing kills. 3 other characters, I believe, died, which would be Phil, the police officer, and another young girl that died before the movie even started. So you might say those are kind of throwaway kills, but we do see some of the aftermath, like Phil and the police officer. But yeah, so we have this character. We don't know his motives. Why is he killing? And we do have some interesting kills with the stabbing with the horse crystal statue, the hook, and the plastic bag. So kills for me are pretty good. They're kind of middle of the road, but as well as they're being done well within the movie, I would say they did a good job with that. Alright, so we're going to get into the last thing for this as I start my foundation. Alright, I went ahead and did my foundation off camera, and I'm going to go in with my concealer. This concealer is actually $1 from the brand AOA, which is on the site Shop Miss A, and it's actually a good little concealer. Not the best concealer in the world, but for $1, works really well. I'm going to just blend out with my sponge. Also for my base, I did Wet n Wild's Photo Focus Dewy foundation, and I blended it with the Sephora 66 brush, and then I went over the foundation with the sponge because I like the finish better. Alright, now let's go in with this concealer, which again is that $1 one from Shop Miss A. I just want not complete total full coverage, but just a nice, it does pretty well actually, full coverage. Not the most full coverage you're going to see, certainly not, but for $1, it does really good. Alright, so we only have one more component to talk about that I'm going to talk about today, which is the killer. So for Black Christmas, the killer, we don't know who the killer is, and that is actually what makes this movie even more smart and even more scary is we have no idea what is the killer's motive. Why is he doing that? Who is this killer? Does he have some connection with this sorority? We don't really know, and we don't know why he's doing all of this. Right? The movie tries to give us some red herrings, mainly Peter. Is he the killer? And spoiler, if you haven't seen this movie for the ending, you might want to click off now. So spoiler warning, you have been warned. But at the end, Jess really does believe it's Peter and ends up killing him after the killer from the attic comes down. She finds Barb and Phil's bodies, and then the killer is looking at her through this door, and we have this iconic scene where you see his eye, and so she just books out of there, runs. She almost gets caught, but then she gets into the basement, and then all of a sudden here comes Peter. The killer goes away. Here comes Peter, and he knows where she is in the basement somehow, which, how did he know she was down there? Maybe, I don't know, hurt her. And so he breaks into the basement, and she's like, well, this has got to be the killer. So she kills Peter. But at the end, we see someone coming down out of the attic, and obviously it's not Peter because he's dead. So there's still a killer, and at the end, we hear a phone call again. And they kind of hypothesize that after he kills someone, he makes the calls. And so we don't know at the end is Jess alive or not, because she's left in the house at the end because they thought it was Peter. And so we don't know, is she alive or not at the end. So it's a really good ending. I love that ending. It's kind of ambiguous. It's up to you to think, is she alive? Is she dead? We don't know. So the killer, the antagonist of this story, it's been hypothesized that it is this person named Billy, and we don't know his motives. We don't know why he's doing this. And I think they went into that with the remake of this movie, which I have not seen, so I'm not going to go into that. But for me, I think it's brilliant to have this sort of antagonist that is just this mystery. It's like the same brilliance with Michael Myers. Even though we know who his family is and kind of know who he is, we don't know why he started killing. But yeah, again, I think it's brilliant that they kept him sort of a mystery, his motives a mystery. But we do kind of see that sort of his like nature is quite psychotic, honestly. The way he makes these calls and how we see from his point of view how he's acting in the attic and throwing these tantrums, and it's like, where did this guy come from? Did he escape out the mental ward? We don't know. And I think what's one thing that this movie does really good is we see a lot of points of view shots from the killer's point of view, which is really good. And I don't know if they're the first to do that, probably not, but I think it's really, it adds something interesting more to the movie so that we get to kind of see the point of view of the killer, but we still keep the mystery of who is this guy, what is his, what does he look like, what is his motives, why is he doing this, where did he come from? We just don't know. None of those questions are ever answered throughout the movie, and I think that's brilliant. So I think the killer is awesome. You know, he does some really cool kills. Just the mystery part of it is good, and the phone calls are so scary the way they built those up. So for me, the antagonist of this movie is very well done, and I just think they do it really awesome within the movie, to create that suspense and that scariness and that mystery and that crazy that you can really feel through the calls and the tantrums and the point of view of the killer. So killer, packed straight down, antagonist is well done within this movie. Alright, we're getting down to the final parts. I'm going to do some highlighter off camera with the second half of this, and then I'll come back with my final rating. Alright, I'm back. I finished with my highlight, which just looks beautiful and wet. I'm getting into cream highlights. I've already been into cream blushes. Cream highlights are my next thing. I also went ahead and just put some brow gel throughout my eyebrows. Whoever invented brow gel, thank you, because I hate doing my brows. If I can just swipe something through them and keep it moving, that's for me. I also applied some mascara today for the first time in weeks. Sometimes I just don't deal with mascara, but I do love the Laura Mercier Caviar Volume in Glossy Black. It's really nice. Actually, this is a sample I got in a BoxyCharm or a Sephora Play box, I don't know. And now I'm going to finish off with some lip color. I'm going to go orange. I also put some lip primer on first. And I'm going to go in with this pretty lip color. Call it a day. Alright, so my final rating for Black Christmas. I said I was going to use my makeup to rate. Well, I'm going to give this movie a rating out of how many concealers out of 5. So these little dollar concealers is going to be my rating measurement today. Seems a little silly, but hey, it works. It's makeup and horror movies. So, for Black Christmas, overall, this story is just really good. It's scary, it's original for the time, and it started it off. And it's brilliantly done. By keeping the killer a mystery, we really are just hanging on the edge of our seats wondering what's going to happen. So for me, this movie, Black Christmas, gets 5 concealers out of 5. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. My family really enjoyed this movie. And I know you'll enjoy this movie as well if you want to check it out. Do so. It's really good. I ended up watching it on Tubi, which is an app that has movies to watch. So if you have that app available on Amazon, check this movie out, or you can check it out however you want to. But it's really good. Hopefully you enjoyed this makeup and horror movies review. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're interested in more, and check out some more videos. Please do so. There'll be some linked in this video. And thank you, and come back for more. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.